So before that, I think it was one more year that I said, years I retired, we were going to Norman. And so we had little skinny cars, and we had backpacks that had little toy bicycles and
Pro knockoff.
Oh, okay. That was
we were being more
very cool.
Yeah. Anyway,
oh, okay.
It's pretty funny.
Cool.
The children's book, though, Eli was just talking about a book about a fish. But you say it's a children's book?
No, I redid the cover.
I see. Go control with your phone. I see. That's cool. Southern Elvis.
Before it gets cold.
Yeah. Hi. How are you?
Sorry. Moving slow. Slow. Hello. How are you?
Tomlin did a routine as a choose to lounge thing.
David.
Say hi to the camera.
Oh, hi.
Say hi, Eli.
Hi. What are you doing, camera? Are you spying on me?
That's Mr. Camera to you.
Hey, Mr. Camera. Hey, Formula.
Well, I don't know how this is going to work out, but we'll see. GoPro knockoff. Knockoff. Got some good reviews. Is this where everybody's going to speak?
It's hard to make a terrible.
Something's not quite right. It keeps restarting.
I'm going to. I gotta get my yes.
Me?
And
oh, I'm just going to show Jennifer. I mean, I don't mean not a picture of my Halloween costume. For every, you know, if I find a decent costume, it's every year. So we've done the same thing a number of years because
are we filming?
Who has the time?
Trying to.
Hey,
We'll see. At least there'll be some short pictures of film.
Well, right. Yeah, so this year I think I'm going to have.
I can go from year to year.
Hi, Hattie.
Nancy, what do you think of your
All right, well, not really.
Isn't she gorgeous? And I said, is that for real? She's gorgeous. So are you.
A couple of them, since they were dollar store items. When are we doing that?
It smells pretty good.
We're gonna outfit ourselves for Halloween using items only for the. I mean, this is the challenge. If you want to accept it.
No,
Fast stuff.
the dollar store. It's also what you're talking about.
No.
Oh, that was from the dollar store.
Is there brisket?
Okay.
So two different.
He said last year he shopped at the dollar store.
For my Halloween costume.
Got his little.
Was it the dollar store or the Dollar Tree?
Dollar, well, same thing. It was a Dollar Tree.
I'll eat whatever.
Dollar General.
It's not a Dollar Store. I just went to a Dollar Tree.
Yeah, really don't.
Dollar Tree.
I have to show them.
Oh my God!
Just because your family got it.
Remember Julia?
No.
It's okay.
Just because there's a dollar.
It made me not hungry, and I don't feel sick, so those are my goals.
Two brothers come up and play different eggs.
Hash brown.
Yeah, it's a GoPro knockoff. A cheap knockoff. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. As long as there's some sort of record.
That's between you and your dad, right? So I don't want to give you a shot.
There was a family down.
That's my mother.
The dollar
My mother.
I know. What was her name? Oh, Jenny. Okay.
Jenny.
Oh, what? No, David's older than Carole. Right?
But this is probably just the girls, right?
Oh, this is just the three generations. Three generations. You know, we're gonna do it.
Not at all. 42 years. I don't, I've done a lot of pictures. I don't remember most of
I
them.
know, I'm just kidding.
I know, isn't that something? I know, I have no idea.
Well, make sure you bring it. Yeah, I'm spoiled.
I don't know.
Carole style. Your dad helped? I'd be happy to help. Yeah. I think we never told you that.
You do have some.
Wave the camera.
Okay. There's my gush over there.
Well, let's
That's great. Brian's helping Eli.
They're not making the best decision.
And the cab driver was telling me that there's 2 or 3 cities already that are ruling out.
Barbecue chicken.
Yeah.
They're making pretty important decisions.
They really are.
Oh, really? The train.
Susan and I.
It's ironic, and I mean, that's sort of ironic that Irv, lived in the same town as you.
Susan met David when we were at the University of Illinois, and our apartment was in the same building as David's apartment.
Can I help you get, can I take
When
you
she was
first?
a senior and I was a sophomore.
I knew David and Susan before I met.
Even
In the art department.
What? No, I
So David and Susan were.
I'm not sure yet.
Do you want to see?
I'm not sure yet. I'm just getting some pictures of this layout here.
Are we recording sound?
Yes.
I do Benedict drawings.
The whole.
I do illustration. Some
Now I'm
cartoons.
still nauseous.
I started out thinking I would be a cartoonist, and then just sort of became an illustrator. Because it was funny to me doing illustrations. And cartooning, people would publish your work, but they wouldn't pay you. It wasn't like you could rise to the occasion of making money. So after a couple of years, I sort of became an illustrator and did prints and art fairs. Historic subject matter. I sell note cards. And just have a little, so just trickle of income from 5 or 6 different little ventures. But with prints, you sell over and over. In Springfield, it's
So much reflection
every
here.
year. Hundreds of thousands of tourists. I love that.
It's a knockoff.
This is just a tiny
Got some good reviews.
Good.
Some people I know open the
It's,
coffee house across the street from me.
I'm only filming 1080p because the 4K just uses way too much
And so I started.
memory.
We're going to take all these pictures and move them to that table over there so we can sit around.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to avoid the.
Yeah.
So there's like, it's very interesting. There's like a knitting sauce to one. Why have customers?
Sorry, okay.
Right, you guys.
I didn't know.
Yeah. There's like a little counter over there.
No, that's all right. I can see them. No, I don't need to.
You can get another chair. Very careful.
It's very old.
Yeah, we're gonna, I mean, it looks like we're gonna sit.
Wow.
Right on there.
That's great. That's way more.
All right, do you want to sit, Tim?
I'll move this.
What did you like the best? What do you think you should try? Ribs?
Sorry.
Okay.
You like it? Yeah.
Okay.
Hey. There's no you're around I'll be right here if you need me. Give me a holler, all right? This is like, okay, this is like, Olivia, if you need me, give me a holler. Give me a holler.
No, I'm still there. For a very short period of time.
Sorry.
The food.
You go ahead. I'm gonna try to catch a little bit so Rita has a chance to remember it.
Yeah, I meant to do that, yeah. I know, it's hard. It's hard to see where it goes. Like, I'm gonna turn it over. That's the easiest way to go. Oh, I never thought of that. If you want more sauce, what I
You really want to sell it? No, I can see. No, I can see it. I heard what you said to him. It's wonderful. Good.
Thank you, Susan.
How did you know where to go, Mrs. Susan?
Oh, we know this restaurant. This is downtown Evanston. We think their ribs are fantastic.
Where?
Smiley's. It's on. Hey, Nancy, what street is Smiley's on? Oak Street. You ever believe it?
Oh, yeah, okay, I know. Yeah, I know where Oak Street is.
Oak and like. Where's Bunny? We might need one more chair. I brought one in here. Okay. I want to know the name of the rib joint.
Smiley. You should just hire an intern and pay them minimum wage. I wonder if that's what was going on.
That may have been still the thing when I joined. Yeah.
Well, the person's job will be only last things.
He does call Grace and Leah.
The other day he called me 4 times. Nothing. About like the Cubs winning and about I forget what. You probably don't have time for that in your job. I don't.
Did she answer?
I was like,
You thought it was something important.
yeah, because you were, well, and then I realized it was just
Never
a
had an area.
so we couldn't call you.
He didn't call you. He was a cute guy. So.
Yeah.
As Faye would say, he's a caution. He's a caution.
Yeah, she's hard. Lily's hard.
Oh, she was saying that about all kinds of people. She was saying that about places.
Can you see Dad striking up a conversation with the cashier at the dollar store? I can't. I wasn't looking for
First of all, they owned all the land around.
One thing all day long.
And even though there's been all these
As soon as I go to this pharmacy gallery,
are rented, they rent out the land.
I've told her I'd rather a dog. She's not really.
Some they sold, but most of their this is all developed out there on these land.
I said we need to get a place first. We need a stable line. Well, she was turned 39, so she
research, right? Go to the coffee house.
Yeah.
In the morning, we
I know it's not dead.
Look at these things. Those are super, they're not even stickers.
They're like
They're-
jelly stickers.
Did you know that when you bought them? Those are
They
so
felt
cool.
like they were jelly.
That's probably the best thing I've ever. If you got that,
You put it out there for this
$1 tree, that might be the best $1 tree. You got all those at Dollar Tree, like in one pack? Did those all come in one pack? I'm going to yell them. I mean, those are
Sold before they're gone.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go to that.
A woman, it's really good.
Well,
You're not leaving.
well, yeah, no, but I want a pack of my
You
own.
want your pristine.
I may not ever even open my pack.
Right. I mean, it might be valid, that pack might increase in value.
I want to buy every pack. I'm going to buy every pack they have. I'll keep some, sell some, use some.
Just make some DIY gel packs.
Or my DIY slime. We tried to make DIY slime.
What is that?
You just mix some stuff and it's supposed to be slime, but you mixed it and you got a big mess. Making slime.
At least you tried.
We tried. Liv really wanted to. But making your own slime is a huge thing now. Like there's a million YouTube videos of kids making slime. It's super popular. Like I knew a girl that had a daughter and she said her daughter every day was making slime. A friend of Liv's from school is huge on making slime. Liv's friend yesterday, actually, that's how we got her. Her friend came, but like her mom texted me and said, "Hey, my daughter has something for Olivia. She really wants to bring it by." And it was a slime making kit.
What do you do with the slime after you make it?
Liv will play with that stuff for hours. She'll put it on her hand and it'll melt down her hand, or you can do it.
Because it doesn't stick.
Well, some of it does stick. I had to throw out a pair of sheets not too long ago because, well, Liv actually, I kept telling her, Liv, be careful where you put your slime. It will stick. But she decided to put it on one of my T-shirts. So Liv was in my room, and I brought the T-shirt, and I didn't say anything to her. I set the T-shirt down on my desk with the slime stuck to it, just so she could see, like, you were in my T-shirt. She didn't want to look at it, so she flipped it over. So then I had to throw out the T-shirt and the sheet. So, but some of the slime is sticking.
Is it the dye in the slime?
It just was stuck. It was like bubble gum. It's like, no.
Oh, you're kidding.
But some of the stuff, there's a million types of slime.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff is like silly putty. You should just like fidget, just like the fidget spinners. Like these things are super.
Yeah. Are they over already? I hope.
No. Liv is going. I was playing with one today. I have a couple of them laying around. Just I don't know. I have two, and I was just spinning them to see which one's longer.
Are you a obsession? You take it with you?
No. Although I did. Liv had a parent day at her school last week, and just as a joke. So Liv's in her PE class. I'm standing there with some other parents watching it. And I had one of her yellow fidget spinners, so I just pulled it out. Like only, there's 30 kids in the PE class, and she's the only one that saw me just like very discreetly spinning it, but just for her benefit, like just a little wink and a nod. But she got a big kick out of it.
So it's not. You're not like.
But
I just wanted
David,
to make sure.
Jason Elenoff, he was in town recently. He was in town recently, and Liv wanted me to buy her one for her birthday. He helped me. He's like, okay, no, like it's not spinning right. He had one, he was telling me about the one he had. But there's people I work with who have fidget spinners.
I'm sorry, but I don't get it. I think it's sad.
I don't really get it. I don't get it.
You get it?
Do you know what they are?
Yes. And if you're fidgety or you have extra energy, it's a good way of just focusing that into the thing.
I mean, that's the whole
Is that like
thing
taking place of
behind
the old
it.
Rubik's Cube?
Or the stress balls.
It's therapy.
I'm fascinated.
So I ran into these people that I knew from like ages ago. Not even high school, but like Butler School. Junior, clearly
designed for adults.
Some of them remember me, I don't have any clue who they were, they've never seen me before in my life.
Well, I think they
And others,
they're just supposed to be like very well.
you know, we remember each other and had a good time. Some people look great, and some people look terrible.
And they're probably very
Sort of like that
I don't know.
Twilight Zone episode, you know. What happened?
What's the next thing?
That's well, you figured it out. Go all Oxford. I mean, summer, part of summer. Whisper. If you call a factory in China and have them make them for a nickel and nice and sell them for $5.
Oh, yeah.
Even if they're popular for 6 months.
Yeah, you make a part of.
Bad English.
Right.
You like twice fried toast, and twice baked beans, mushy beans, that kind of thing. You know.
You jump on a real estate.
I don't think I'd ever had like so big as that. But
These fidget spinners.
but I love being in summer in England. It's wonderful. I like being in Oxford.
Well, yeah, the trolls are still like,
Yeah.
they control movies.
I know. Emojis.
Well, see, then I guess the other thing is, if it's, you can't like copyright it or trademark it, and then you have a problem.
We did the right thing.
Happy birthday.
You think any of those people are alive?
Right here. Oh, there's another mermaid. This is a pretty annoying. Ah, she's so bad. I don't
Hold up.
like it.
If I bring some meat up, will you eat it? Ribs? That's ribs.
Hello, camera.
That's Mr. Camera.
What's up, Mr. Camera?
Heavy on the Mr. Huh?
I think she would.
She would? If I brought it out here?
Just pick it off of it.
Bird. I'm a little mermaid. I don't like your skin. What are you doing, mermaid? I don't like your
Mr.
skin.
Camera.
That's not how girls little baby
That's what you do when they start calling each other names. That's
Chicka
Mr. Part things. Mona, you ever had a little bit when they start fighting, you know?
I've heard that before, but I need to remember that one.
They start fighting and they're kicking each other.
You don't like it?
Make a game out of it.
I'm a little bit more.
You're good at that. I get offended too easily with the names.
It's, yeah, well, you can,
Like today, with
You want more?
Do you like it?
He's giving them all the bath together.
How about this?
He got out early and he was just sitting there saying, I hate. He doesn't have to repeat the word hate. I wanted to say I hate you.
Want a little bit more?
Just trying to say I hate you. He just kept saying, I hate.
He doesn't like it.
Hate.
A little bit more?
Just a bit more.
Like 40 times.
Well, that's good.
I was like, get out of
Doesn't
here.
like it.
Like after a while, you know.
well, let's see.
Does anybody have
It's
some
hard to hold this
paper?
thing still. Huh?
Give me that paper. No, you always stop it. I didn't put a sticker on there. No.
There we go. Oh, yeah.
No.
Happy.
Can I play that game?
You're trying to sell a sandwich.
Yes.
QVC. QVC sandwich online.
I'm gonna look what difference.
She's selling a sandwich.
Oh no. Because I don't see a difference.
But now I'm gonna.
Oh my god.
She'll let you carrot.
Ramona's gonna sell you a carrot.
Because this is 1 and this is
Try this?
4 and this is 3 and this is 5 and this is 2. That's why I don't.
I hope this picks up the sound well enough. I can make an external microphone for it. Probably pick me up just fine. Everything else will just be a blur.
I go waffle. I go waffle. If you're a waffle. Ooh, I got this big get.
She's eating the carrot.
I don't like your peach.
Watermelon?
I think you're probably gonna still eat the regular.
Yeah, yo.
Olivia says, I hate mint.
You like like
So I brought water.
now.
That was kind of you.
Oh, that's
Thoughtful of
bad.
you.
That way she can stick it.
So I'm gonna take one of
Oh, I need to taste it.
speeches.
Okay.
These two are getting married.
Hey, Olivia,
What?
do you like watermelon?
I love watermelon.
You want some watermelon gum?
Yeah.
Remember, you don't stick it to stuff.
I know that. Don't even try to stick it to the window.
Do you want some watermelon gum?
Yeah. I like all types of gum. That's spicy. You like spicy gum, Olivia? Of course not. I thought you'd like it.
You don't like watermelon?
I do. I just throw the wrapper out.
Oh, I see.
No, it's not corn.
What do they call it?
Blue whale.
Corn though. It's corn.
What's that?
But it's corn.
Pudding.
Corn pudding?
Is it?
No.
I mean, I understand it's moist.
It's more
Yeah.
like kugel.
Kugel.
Whatever it is.
But kugel's a Jewish food,
Kugel is,
right?
yeah, I know. But kugel is sweeter than this, but it's the same
Okay.
consistency.
Well, you know all about kugel. Do you agree with that? Do you think it's kugel? Kugel?
No, to me it's not kugel.
Okay.
Because it's not sweet. No, it's a consistency. It's almost like, it's a, I think it's a cornbread mixture with the corn in it. It's much more moist.
Yeah, I like it because usually
I
cornbread's
loved it.
too
dry and crumbly. You know, you take a piece of cornbread and it's all over you.
I love
Yeah.
cornbread too.
I love it.
She likes the corny.
Cornbread is sweet.
So, would you guys go back to this?
This is
Would you
still
order
there, he
from
sold
Smiley's
somebody
again?
else.
It's in your neighborhood, this place that.
Well, I want to go to that rib joint.
Yeah.
It's
It's
right-
right here.
It's right here somewhere.
Yeah. downtown.
Oh, I know, on Oak, she said Oak Street.
It's on Orrington.
Yeah.
No, she said Oak Street. She told Susan.
Orrington.
So I wrote a.
Maybe it's on the
Susan
cross.
told me, Susan, that's what David like, said it was on Oak Street. Smiley's.
Where's Oak Street?
Where the post office is, on Oak Street.
2 years ago.
No, there's a rib joint right here on Orrington and,
I didn't sold 150 copies.
not David's, what's the other street? Church?
Confidence to
Orrington
try
and
book
Church.
of my own.
Orrington and Church says there's
There's
the
a
farmhouse restaurant.
Rand?
You sell it for
No,
$3.66.
this is on
Remember Amelia in
Orrington.
your shop? Or no?
Where do you think Eli ended up?
I do have in my store.
Where did Eli
It's
end
on
up?
Orrington. and
Your
I don't
Eli.
know.
Famous milk
Couple of doors to gas station. I guess
Uh,
I don't know. Orrington lives like a mile from where we rib joint the car. And I kept saying, keep going to the, I wanted to go to the railroad
No, that
track.
didn't,
and
this did not,
I could get a
this came
cab
from
without
Oak
calling a
Street,
cab.
she said.
Oh.
Oak Street, you gotta go, you know where the King,
The way it
King
sounded, we
Holt
knew
is
we
and
could
that on
go
Oak Street?
further.
Yeah, it's out there somewhere.
Just down right in the rim, on the rim.
That's a great story.
So I don't forget it.
Landmark, and I assume it's still there. It's still out there.
It goes to show that any rattles or whatever with the car. The first thing to check are the tires. You know, David's mommy and papi are still in Europe.
No,
Well, they're staying another year.
they're still in business, and this was,
Because they were able to lease out their house for another year, so they're staying there another year.
that's when Dave and I.
They
were
missed the
young.
floods. That's right.
At one point, we.
I guess their house is all right, so I don't know if their house is dead. I haven't.
There was a really great sign.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
The camera.
There was a really great sign.
Yes,
Is
Uh,
Dave? No.
It's a mess in Puerto
So we're
Rico.
driving the Volkswagen bus.
Puerto Rico.
Oh.
Actually, David.
There's a Route 66 liquor store, you know, you look right off Route 66. Yeah. So there's a place called the Route 66, you know, there's really nothing to see, there's nothing to do. But I was there the other day just buying a cheap six-pack, and a minivan full of what appeared to be Chinese tourists hopped out, all smiles, started taking pictures, and they went in all like laughing, and taking, and I'm just thinking, like, you know, just because Route 66 is in the name does not make this a tourist site. There really is nothing to see here, nothing of note. And then I went in and I asked them, like, do you ever like, what's the then I'm like, oh, hey, do you want to sell some note cards? And the guy seemed, you know, very open to the idea. I think that was probably.
It's not actually on Route 66.
No, it is on Route 66. It is on Route 66, and it's called the Route 66 liquor store. But it's not, does not appear to be like a, yeah, you know.
It just happens to be on Route 66. It just happens to have the name.
So they played that up. But these tourists seemed to be, they thought it was like, you know,
they could just go to McDonald's on Route 66 and take a picture of that.
Right, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
You gotta have sign. You
I'm
gotta
just
have
wondering why that was. It was all along, I know.
They do have a neon. They do have a neon sign, and it has, you know, the logo, the Route 66 logo.
You should just put up a Route 66 sign somewhere on that street with a donation box.
Yeah, really. There was a Route 66 museum.
If I had Grace
until
with me,
recently, right by the
What?
south.
What do you mean till recently?
It's no longer there. Yeah, they shuttered. Have you ever been there?
I went there about 5 times. It was never open.
Yeah, now it's never. It's still never been.
I was sitting
thinking about doing some,
out
like,
front of the pharmacy a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
which is at the Fifth Book.
Forever.
Some guy rolls up in a big old shiny Harley Davidson,
Yeah.
pulls up the
Where's the cozy dog restaurant?
Well, he asked the right person.
Yeah.
I mean, of everybody he could have asked. Well, he was on the right street. Of all people he could have asked for directions to the cozy dog, he asked the right man. Huh? And you pointed him there?
Yeah.
You should. Do you want some directions?
Do you guys think
But they sell my art, note cards at the cozy dog.
Yeah, I know. But they kind of get overshadowed.
What do you guys think about starting with a video?
If he's
Yeah.
singing, he
And
must
then
have a
everyone
plane.
speak and
Not me, no.
raise the glass.
Just before.
I saw him when he was singing.
Hey, I guess you can't see me.
Right at the end.
Okay. Let's start with the video. Get back in, bring the spirit back in.
Well, I guess that's the chorus, because I see Brian Casey there.
But I wasn't part of that.
Everybody ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turn off mute, John.
I'm turning this. Okay.
There you go.
Oh, black magic has begun to spell. That old black magic thing you read so well. Those icy fingers up and down my spine.
Oh.
Guys, do you have a microphone in this room? Let's speak. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Oh.
Olivia's tiny Irv. He's a tiny Irv. I can't even see him. SpongeBob. I'm coloring SpongeBob.
Very important work.
SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob SquarePants.
We're showing that to your girlfriend someday.
What?
Embrace me, my sweet embrace.
Guys, look
Embrace me, to irreplaceable. Just one look into my heart grows tipsy with thee. You and you alone bring out the gypsy. I know there are many charms about you. Although I love so about you. Don't be naughty, baby. Come to my sweet unreasonable.
Yeah, maybe we can do the speech now, and then queue up another video.
What did he do?
Here, I'm gonna call Carole so I can put her on speakerphone. So
Did he turn on?
Is she expecting me?
what's that?
Is she expecting to?
She's expecting me to call. Yeah, I'm calling right now.
Because, all right, I could do one more.
Can you take this over?
Yeah, I'm trying.
You need to put that on and keep it on.
Hello.
Hi, Carole.
Hi, Carol. Hi,
Hi, everybody.
How are you?
Hi, we miss
We
you.
miss you.
Yeah, we miss you.
Yeah, we do.
I miss you all so much.
Oh.
How was lunch?
It was good.
Delicious.
You know how many people are here in this room? 1, 2, 3,
How
4, 5,
many
6.
people?
Tell us.
Olivia's counting.
Oh,
What are you doing?
a lot of people, huh?
Tell Carol how many you counted, Libby.
Nothing. Nothing. I'm not
We
counting.
just watched a video of your dad singing Embraceable You to your mom.
Oh,
It was quite moving.
was that from the? Was that his first performance?
I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah, early on, yep. Yep. It was quite something.
And yes, I was there for that, and everybody was crying. And
Yep.
Dad said, "Why do I make people cry?"
That's so hilarious. He taught us some jokes. Do you know any jokes? That was Eli.
Did you how are the ribs?
The ribs are great.
Delicious.
Really
They're excellent.
good.
I didn't try any.
No. What if
Sorry,
you have, Olivia?
I had all the bread. No, you're not.
And brownies. She had a lot of brownies.
Hey, just 2.
Oh, it's a lot.
No, it's not. Oh,
So we're getting ready for some
and gum. What?
remembrances.
We're gonna have some speeches.
Oh, how wonderful.
Do you wanna listen?
You can't make me cry because I can't cry and wipe my eyes and hold the phone all with one hand.
Oh. Okay, we'll try not to. Wish we were there to help you.
Okay,
All right.
I wish I was.
Let me look in the phone. Let me look in the phone and cry.
No, there's no picture, Eli.
What?
There's no
You can talk to her though.
picture. Tell her you say you're sorry she's not
You guys are cutting in and out a lot. Can you hear me?
We can hear you fine. Can you hear me okay right now?
Can you see me?
Can you all hear me?
I can hear
Yeah.
you fine. My connection.
Okay, because you guys keep cutting in and out, but that's because it's my Verizon, it's not you guys. So,
Well, I'm not sure my connection is very good either.
I'd like to listen to okay. I would love to listen to what you're all going to say.
Okay.
It's time to show. Let me watch SpongeBob SquarePants. Turn on
Does
it.
anyone have the desire to start us out?
Ha ha ha. No ha ha.
Rita?
Nobody? You don't let
You
me
wanna
say
do
ha ha
something?
ha.
You have
How
to,
does that work?
excuse me, I wrote this last night and I tried and it's a scratch copy. It jumps all over the place and I had trouble filing it myself. I didn't have time to redo it today. A series of anecdotes mostly. Start off by saying, Irving, no middle name learner. All right, Grandma didn't bother with middle names.
I did not know that.
You do not know, well, there's a lot of things you're not gonna, okay, and then the one piano song he played, remember David and Carole? With such dramatic flair, a catchy short piece filled with seventh chords for those who know their music. And then there was this is a famous trait, the fact that his taste in food was so limited. No condiments on sandwiches. And having ordered the dinner entree in a restaurant, when the waitress recited the word salad dressing, his head turned sharply to my mother, since she would be getting the salad. I mean, who doesn't eat a bland salad? There was our vacation in Estes Park, Colorado, to which Dad drove like a speed demon, reaching highs of 100 miles per hour. Mom, David? Where's David? Is David around?
Yeah, I'm here.
Mom dozed off, didn't she? Or he wouldn't dare drive that fast. He kept nudging me and pointing at this
The speedometer?
I have something important to say. Does everybody?
we
Everybody else want a brownie?
Mom had washed a pair of my shorts. She placed on the phone line next to our cabin that the wind blew up and out of reach, leaving Dad to resourcefully knock it down with stones. Still picture that. Going to Temple on high holidays, which Daddy knew I disliked intensely. So to ease the unpleasantness, he always directed me to the seat in our cluster of chairs closest to the choir, and specifically to the alto. How many people know that the alto was his favorite voice part in a choir? as if you could hear better in any part of the room than any other. All right. Nothing, sorry, I wrote it so fast I can barely read it myself.
Okay.
Nothing illustrated Dad's character, as well as a personal anecdote. When I was 15 or 16 and having a tough time socially at school, my parents sent me to their bedroom, where on the bed lay a white windbreaker. White because Mom had told him it matches everything, and a windbreaker because it was in style. It was, all right, this is where the jump, so it was only in retrospect the most thoughtful and endearing, if somewhat simplistic gift I've ever received. As if to counteract my miserable existence at school, he figured naively it made any difference what I wore. But I'm afraid I was ungracious adolescent, too immature to appreciate the sentiment. While looking back on it now, I realize it was the essence of who he was. All right. Perhaps even more revealing and definitely more amusing was the incident some 10 years earlier, when I was about 6 and our family was getting ready for some formal event. Not yet having changed into my dress, I snuck down to the basement to his workroom, careful to avoid attracting his attention, where I surprised him, exclaiming, "Daddy, how do I look?" "Ooh," he replied with enthusiastic fervor, only at that point turning to me still in my play clothes. It seems that at my very young age I had already caught on to his modus operandi. Where does it go now? Something about, sorry, someplace. Can't find it. Where the hell does it go from? Something about, he opened all his gifts that way. I don't know where it says that. He would always open a gift and exclaim over it and get all effusive before he saw what it was. So I had noticed that by the age of 6 or so. I was able to play this trick on him. Before he even pulled apart the tissue paper, he was getting all excited. There it is. Let's see. How about the ingenious system of copying famous paintings by squaring the canvas and doing the same to the whatever it was he was going to be copying, duplicating square, so that instead of copying an entire work, he duplicated square for square for square, just what was in that square, and reproduced entire paintings that way. We had a nice one in our den.
Here's Picasso.
Yeah.
Huh?
There was a Picasso in the living room.
Was there? Yeah.
Over the couch.
I don't know who it was, the one in the den,
I
no.
thought everybody had a Picasso.
Our dad started driving at age 12. There being virtually no laws or regulations in 1928. So when he could barely see over the steering wheel. Or as a bombardier during the war, the most dangerous position on the plane, he kept a souvenir. He used to show us all kinds of stuff because the war was only 10 years gone or so when we were kids. Most dangerous position on the plane, he kept a souvenir bullet that landed in his seat.
Wow.
You fly your 30 missions, he said, at that stage of the war, because it changed depending on how, I guess, busy things got. You fly your 30 missions, and God bless you, tempted fate enough and they send you stateside. He was stationed in Florida, but for the duration. Or how many people knew that he surprised his parents by flying back to Chicago and appearing at their door on his birthday in 1943.
Wow.
He surprised them on his birthday. Or one of the funniest ones was he used to, something that I had inherited as musical aptitude, I guess. He used to show me pieces of music and sing with them. And there was a hymn, a prayer, that, and he had me follow, one night he had me follow along the sheet music. He had just finished the lines, "Give us our bread, our daily bread," when from the kitchen a radio ad chirped, "Tough, tough, nothing but butternut bread." We thought it was the most hysterical thing we'd ever heard in our lives. So I guess that's about it. I just thought there were very sweet anecdotes.
Very nice.
Very nice, thank you.
Who's next?
I guess I've got the one that's not that sweet. When Mom and Dad moved into the North Shore, Dad was 90, Mom was 85. Dad decided, because of the family history, that it was time at 90 for him to get a colonoscopy. Thank you, Carol. We needed your medical advice, expertise here. Yeah. And I came out from Albuquerque to be there to help them out, and I rented a car. And I didn't realize that time if you leave the car on the street overnight, it gets towed. So we get up in the morning, we're going to take them down to Evanston Hospital. And we get down there and the car's not there. And you know, Dad at 90 is, if anybody who's gone through that procedure knows that it's the day before getting ready for it is a horrible day. Just very rough. He did it at 90. And so we get down there and we got to get in a cab, and the plan is we'll get in the cab, we'll get him to Evanston Hospital, I'll go over and get the car out of Hawk. So we get in the car, we get a cab driver who determined down Sheridan Road to just get right up to the car in front of it. He slam on the brakes, and we finally get Dad to the hospital. And I wait until he goes back, and they take him back, and I go get the car. And I get back just in time for they finished the procedure. They're ready for us to go in to see him. And we walk in, and anybody who's had the procedure knows you come out of the anesthesia. It's not anesthesia, and you're kind of in the middle of. You've forgotten where you are. You kind of look around and don't know what's going on. You kind of come through. We're in there with the doctor, Mom and me, Dad. Dad looks up at the doctor and he says, "Doctor, I'll bet you see a lot of assholes in this place." And Mom is both embarrassed, but she's also relieved that he's made it through and he's fine, because that's Dad. And the one thing that I realize, and Carol and I have talked about, Carol, we've talked about this for a long time, we really didn't know him until he turned 90. And what I learned from that was there was this importance to him in telling stories. He didn't just come up with that on the spot. He'd been planning that for at least a month. And that was symptomatic of that. Here's another hospital story. He was about to turn 97. We were all coming in to see him. Carole, you remember this?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we're getting ready to fly out of Albuquerque. Carole's getting ready to fly out of California. And he has a stroke. 2 days before his 97th birthday. And we're going, oh God, you know, what's going to happen? What's going to go on? That's a story, and it's another story typical of Dad. They're wheeling Dad into the hospital, into the emergency room. He's having a hard time speaking. He can't remember. And they do, the nurse, as nurses do it with a very officious voice, says, she finds out he's about to turn 97. Mr. Lerner, what is the secret to your longevity? And Dad, having just had a stroke, looks up and says, I never eat vegetables. Now, you know, whether he planned the stroke just to do that,
That's hilarious.
or whether it, on the way to the hospital, he had said, if anybody asks me why I'm this old, I'll tell them I don't know. But he never. There was a huge importance to being able to tell a story right, correctly. And he did, in fact, work out stories in his head. And if he would become a little bit upset, especially with Mom, when she would interrupt because it would kill his timing. He understood the concept of timing, and that was very important to him. Rita spoke of the missions that he flew. There they are, all 35 of them.
Wow. I'm sorry, where are they?
Those are his
In
kids.
those.
What are those tags?
This is a tag from each of the missions that he flew.
Oh, he cooked them?
What's the purpose of the tags?
Yeah,
You
the
can
ball.
shut down?
The pin from the bomb.
The bomb.
Let David tell us.
There was a bomb. Well, it says on the back of the tag, there's a pin from each one of the. There's a tag and there's a pin from each one of the missions. This is good. To be removed after bomb has been planted in dropping gear and arming wire inserted. If bomb is not dropped, replace pin before removing arming wire, which is probably to keep it from blowing up on you. So here's all 35 of them.
Wow.
35?
And yeah, he did 35 missions.
How sturdy are those pins?
It's like a hand grenade. And it was not a bullet. It was a piece of shrapnel that was in the seat. And here's the piece of shrapnel.
Oh my God.
That did not.
Oh my God.
That he took as a souvenir. He has.
Are you showing a piece of shrapnel?
I am. You've seen it, no?
No.
You saw the tags when we were cleaning out.
I saw them when I moved Mom and Dad from the house.
Yeah.
He called me over, he said, come here, honey, have you ever seen this? And he showed me that key ring with all the cards and the pins on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he has them all labeled from 1 to 35. And I never realized that he actually flew at the end of the war, not at the beginning.
He was in the D-Day mission.
Well, it was short. It was from May to August, from May 19th, 44 to August 5th, 44. First one was to Brunswick, and the last one was to Brunswick. The 2 missions to Brunswick. But what's more remarkable about this to me is his handwriting.
Yeah.
And it was another thing that he took great pride in. And I wanted to get a photograph. When Susan first opened her store, Dad did the sign for her.
his own style, which is exactly the same as this. And take a look at these.
He signed that after, was that signed after each mission? I'm confused.
He just wrote the name, he wrote the mission number, where he went, and the date. That's all that's on these. Except for, let's see if I can find it. June 6th.
So that was his personal property then?
June 6th, 44, of course, was D-Day. It was his 7th mission. He flew to Point Caz de la Percée, but it's not D-Day. Well, read what it said.
Can I say what it says?
Yeah, you know?
It says the big day.
No.
No?
Here it is.
Sorry.
Did you lose it?
35.
No, here.
Did I lose it?
On the 7th, too. What did he refer to?
What does it say?
Mission 7, Point Grade, still out tours. Says Invasion Day. June 6th.
What was it called?
Invasion Day.
Called it Invasion Day.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
my.
was June 6th.
Wow.
Huh.
Wow. That's amazing.
But that's his handwriting. I mean, that's his.
But in other words, then there's all those missions afterwards then.
Well, here. Yeah. You want it?
Huh?
You want to see it?
Maybe different days?
Yeah, 35 different days. 35.
Yeah, that, I mean, that wasn't the last mission then.
No.
That's the mission that Obama talked
His
about.
printing, huh? His printing.
Yeah, his printing, yeah.
Yeah, and that, once again, it was one of the things that he took great pride in. But you didn't. Dad was not hyperbolistic. He did not speak of his talents with great enthusiasm. He just was good at a lot of stuff, and very rarely made a big deal out of it. And when he finally ended up working at Binny's in retirement, he was their sign painter for years until it became computerized. You can see him just standing there doing his, he was good at it, and it's the same thing as the painting. When he decided he was going to, as Rita has referred to, do those paintings, he was very good at it. He was very good at mixing color, which is very
Do you remember,
difficult.
did he invent that system?
No,
or did
he did
learn it
not
somewhere?
invent that system. He did not invent
Did you read
that.
it someplace? Or?
Yes. But he didn't dissuade us from thinking that maybe he made it up.
What's that?
He said he didn't dissuade us from believing that he had figured it out on his own.
Oh, he mastered it.
So,
He never dissuaded me from thinking he spoke Italian.
Yeah. And so these are the memories that I have of him, but it was only after the last 10 years of his life that we began to really understand that this is what that he did. And he didn't sing. I mean, he sang in the house, but he didn't perform at all. I also was unaware that after the war, between getting and before getting married, that he would spend a lot of time, or not a lot of time, but he said when he had extra money, he would go rent time, go up to Powell and get a small plane and fly it around. And Annette and I were just talking about, he claims that he went over to the beach by Sheridan Road and buzzed them. This is before you, Amy. This is only...
Now wait a minute, according to this,
Yes.
Invasion Day was on the 7th of June. And subsequently, he flew 31 missions after that
After it.
mission.
Yeah.
Almost daily.
Yeah. Well, it was a very short period of time. I never realized that. I thought that it had been over a longer period of time, but he was here in the States until he went over to, and it was compressed, for 35 were compressed between, what, May and August of 44.
Wow.
But there were all the other talents that he had.
So wait a minute,
Yeah.
in other words,
Yes.
this, well, according to this, obviously, this was attached to the bottle.
Yeah.
Yes. Is that what you read? To be
Yeah.
removed after the bottle?
If you read the back of it,
Yeah, that's what I'm reading. Has been placed in dropping gear and arming wire inserted. If bomb is not dropped, replace the pin before removing.
Yeah.
Good advice.
Well, you know, it's like he was defying death every day.
Well, Carol and I have talked about that. Talked not only about that, but after that, Dad had 9 lives.
Right, well, let's go back to the first one then.
Yeah.
The first one I think of that he defied
Yeah.
was that he reached adolescence. Truthfully, my
Oh, yeah?
mother thought he was going to die of malnutrition.
Uh-huh.
Because not only he ate any vegetables, I mean, he just was a poor, picky eater. And it was the bane of her existence. When he, and this goes back to when he was, if I remember correctly, he must have been 5 or 6 years old, or old enough for me to have recollection. So maybe it's 8, because I'm 2.5 years younger. And my mother used to, you know, because he never had a happy face. And so one day she took him to task and said, the reason, and she used the word Jewish, the Jewish word for crimped, which means frown. She says, look in the mirror, and you have a frown on your face. And you have a frown on your face because your stomach is empty. And you can't be happy with an empty stomach. So a short period of time goes by. I got to demonstrate this. And I see my brother is in this little hallway we have with a full-length mirror. And he's facing this mirror with his hands on his hips, and he's going, look at me, look at happy, look at me, look at happy, look at me. He must have eaten a full meal. So that got through to him. But anyway, to me, that was like the beginning of his testing fate.
The first one.
First one. Second one was in high school. He and Sammy Stein had motorcycles. And they were in some kind of an accident where Sammy was hurt, not badly, and I think his motorcycle was whatever. So I think then he quit motorcycling. So that's 2. But then the next one, which maybe you all know about, when he was in service and he was sent down for to meet with his crew, and they went up on some...
Oh, I forgot about that one. He didn't fly because he had a cold, and it was shut
So that's number 3.
Yeah.
Sole survivor in this entire crew.
That crew, yeah. Wow.
And that was horrible because I went with him on that.
Oh.
Yeah. Because not only was the sole survivor,
Annette,
but because...
where was that? Is that Oklahoma, Texas?
I can't hear you.
Where did that happen?
I don't even know.
Oklahoma?
It was when he was in training right before he went to Europe.
Yeah. Where was that, Carol? You know?
I don't know. I'm confused with Mom's experience. I think it may have been Wyoming or somewhere like that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
It got shot down in Wyoming?
No,
this is what I'm wondering.
It was a mission. It was like a training.
It was training. It was here in the States, and the plane went down.
But because he was the only survivor,
Yeah.
and because one of the young men was from Chicago, and he was from Chicago, and they asked him, of course, it was something he couldn't refuse, for him to be an escort with that body to Chicago and then attend the funeral. So I remember this vividly because I met him at the train station.
Oh, here in the city.
And together we, he had a sign for the body and so forth.
And we went to the funeral. We had to go give our grievances to the family and attend that funeral, the whole thing. That was what he had to do. Okay, so that was number, what was that, 4 or 5?
There wasn't also one that was shot down though in Europe?
No.
No. But anyway, then the falling down the stairs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Who falls down the stairs and breaks the necks and survives? I don't know.
Well, at that age. How old was he when he did that? That was...
What?
How much? How old, Carol?
He was at least 80.
How old? Was he 80 already?
Oh, yeah.
You were all out of, you were all out of the house?
It was there, because I remember that was the year he was in the brace when you guys came out to Albuquerque.
Yeah, they had called it a halo.
So that was the 50th anniversary wedding.
6 months.
He was 86.
86?
No, he wasn't 86. I'm sorry. He was about 80. Yeah, okay.
I thought he was in his 70s, no? Well, whatever.
No, I think he was at least 80 because I remember it was after he switched doctors at the age of 80. I encouraged him to go to a new doctor at the age of 80, which he did. And the doctor wasn't going to really believe him that he was allergic to penicillin, so he thought he would try.
Oh, yeah.
And in fact, Dad was allergic to penicillin.
Yeah.
Only after they gave him, of course, a terrible rash. And then when they gave him an injection, because of the rash, they hit his sciatic nerve. And that's when I got involved. And I remember saying to the doctor, you took a perfectly healthy 80-year-old man and you made him into a cripple.
Oh, God.
So I know it was after he started seeing that doctor.
Oh,
So he was at least 80-something when he fell down the stairs.
And it was a pretty remarkable record.
Yeah,
He survived his stroke, he survived
well,
heart attack.
and the story with the stroke, and Carol's hear this, is that we come here and it's a couple of days before his 97th, and it's a stroke, and we think, well, maybe this is 97, maybe this is it, maybe we're going to go through the end stages here. And she stays with him over at Evanston Hospital. We're at the Marion. We get a call early in the morning, and you get a call early in the morning, and it's never good news. It's got to be horrible news at this point. And she says he's back. Whatever they had given him upon entering the hospital had dissolved the clot in his brain, and he was fine.
Do you remember, Jen, you brought the kids and we had a party?
And for his birthday, Jen was there with family, Timmy, and we had a party on the 5th, 6th floor of Evanston Hospital. But they...
And Annie brought the most beautiful chocolate cake you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Did you hear that, Hattie? Did you hear that? No. You brought a beautiful chocolate cake for his birthday to the hospital. You brought it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
David and I forever talked about our mom's 14 hours ago.
yeah, Daddy had the 24-hour stroke. That was it.
It was only because Hattie was there.
Yeah, Hattie
Yes.
got into the hospital.
That's right.
They got him the drug quick enough.
Yeah.
So we, yes, we
But Carol, he gets up in the morning, the doctor comes into this room, and what does he do before they ask him for his information?
Oh, yeah.
You remember that? It's your story.
No.
Nah, come on, it's only 4 years ago.
help her.
I remember.
Grace remembers.
They had been asking him, because every once in a while somebody would come into the room and say, who are you, when were you born, this, and he had a very hard time. He could not finish sentences. From her story, he wakes up in the morning, and they walk in, the doctor walks in, and before the doctor can say anything, he says, I'm Irv Lerner
My birthday is September 15th, 1960. I'm 97 today, and whatever else information they had. He woke up in the morning, fine. So was that the...
That was some years before that he had confusion, and he was in the emergency department, and they answered the same questions, the neurologic exam, and they asked him, and this was pre-2008, they asked him, Mr. Lerner, what is the name of the president? And then he said,
Oh, yeah.
oh, is that asshole?
Now.
He used that word a lot. It turns out I use that word a lot. Anyway, so
Same thing this time, because when they called you, paramedics called you last night, and they said he was completely oriented. Sir, he was oriented with doing everything in the name of the president.
Yeah.
And I said, well, who could blame him? And the paramedic said, I'm with you there.
anyway, I'm grateful that Carole was with him on his last day and was with him when he passed. And I feel that Dad, he used up. Many people go before their time or after. I think Dad used up his time and was ready, and very much thankful for that. I know that he was so happy to be able to see his great-grandchildren. I think that was a great blessing to him, and I very much applaud his life. He had a wonderful life, and we love him very much, and miss him. I realize, as much as I've tried not to be like him all my life, I am a lot like him. Many of the good, and most of the good things, and not too many of the bad. Or maybe it's the other way around, I'm not sure. But anyway, I think I got everything I...
And how lucky you were to have him as one.
Oh, gee, more than God.
And if you said you didn't get to know him that well
Yeah.
until he was 90.
Oh yeah, we were so happy. And Carole and I have discussed that over the years, how our impression of, if he had gone at 90, we would not have known him the way we did, and would not have thought of him the way we did. But and there were so many other things, and I was saying this to Annette before, there's so many other things that Dad was good at, and never touted his ability to do stuff, but he was self-taught in so many things. It was great. It was really great. It was really very inspiring to see that. One of the funniest things that I ever saw, and he was always in on the joke.
Yeah.
That was it. And he would do this thing. When Gracie graduated, they came out to Tacoma, and we were having dinner, and he kind of seemed, I don't know if it was detached or whatever. What did he do? Because he all of a sudden waited for the exact right moment.
I'll tell it.
You know the joke, the story?
He wasn't really participating much. My best friend was there, and she said, "Do you have any advice for Grace on her college graduation?" And he just said, "Whatever they tell you to do the opposite." And went back to not talking.
Yeah. But one of the other favorite things that I saw in the last few years, had to be at least 7 years ago. Mom was ill. They had all kinds of caregivers for Mom. Many of them were Eastern European. Dad would break into this Russian song that he learned as a child, and he would do it. Like I say, he was in on the joke. He would he would sing in Russian with this big Russian accent and with this big voice, and they were all hysterical when they would see him. One especially that day, because she was Romanian, and I mean he was speaking Russian. But yeah, that's wonderful to remember that. He for everybody that is here, not only his family. Of course, everybody, Donald was his first, and he had such a wonderful feeling for Donald and obviously for Annette, obviously for his sister Sarah, who everybody thought so well of, and Milt. Milt was kind of a character, but Daddy always looked up to Milt. And it wasn't just that; it was Mom's side of the family too. Ruth's kids and the Finns and their kids, and they really enjoyed it. They were so active through all their lives. Mom, of course, organized everything, but Dad was perfectly happy to go on vacations and wherever she said. He was very happy. All the theater that she organized that they went to, he enjoyed it. He enjoyed it all very much. So it was a very, very full life.
That trip we took for their 50th anniversary.
Yeah.
That was like 2 days beforehand, 3 days beforehand. It was certainly spur of the moment. And your mom called me and she said, David and Susan want us to come down for the Balloon Festival, and coincidentally it's our 50th anniversary. How about you and Irv joining us? And I said, of course. I didn't even ask her, of course. And I said, and how about Sarah? Sure. And we got that together, and of course it was the thrill of her life, and it was one of the thrills of mine. It was perfection.
It was a wonderful weekend, wasn't it, Annette?
Fabulous.
Yeah, Carole came.
Yeah.
Even though we got lost after we came from the ladies'
Even though you got lost, what, to use the restroom.
Well, we went to the washroom. Our frame of reference of location, no street sign, was a certain balloon. I can't remember which one. So now we go to the car, we come back. By that time, that balloon went up. And we're totally lost. That was so funny.
And I'm remiss for not mentioning Uncle Irv started. Dad really, he always had tremendous respect and love for Uncle Irv, and so did Mom. I mean, everybody did.
Yeah.
So, and your family was very.
That if Dad quit, Biltmore would have to hire 3 guys to replace him. Was it Uncle Irv? Was it Uncle Irv who said, somebody or another, he didn't say that himself, somebody had remarked that he did the work of 3 guys at Biltmore. Was that your who said that? Somebody.
I'm surprised.
One of the things he said to me once was, anytime there was a decision that had to be made between Patty and Irv, they'd go off and do it. And there was that, you didn't see them. They had a difference of opinion. It was not done in public, and he thought that was just great. He thought that was a tremendous thing that they did. That they worked things out.
Right. My husband wasn't a fighter, he was a lover.
Yeah.
And that's why that all went smooth.
Yeah. Well, that was great.
Was an amazing
He believed in compromise.
But that was wonderful. It works at home.
Yeah.
That was smart. It wasn't limited to the workplace. Smart man. Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't think I got it. I mean, like I said, I didn't formally think of anything. That this is what I've been thinking about him, and then.
I just remember one thing after your folks moved into North Shore.
Yeah.
And your father, his typical kind of impish spirit, right? You couldn't really see. And he said he would walk over, people would be waiting to go into the dining room. They'd sit on the couches or something that were near before they'd open the doors. This was in the older days over there.
Yeah.
And they had the menu displayed. And he would walk over, like Groucho Marx kind of, and look at the menu and call out, "Oh, sirloin steak!" Just to get everybody all excited. Yeah, it was
The old one.
Yeah, when they have to show
if I can add to something that David said, I felt as though my relationship with my father started when he turned 90 and moved into the North Shore. And we spent an awful lot of time together, me and Dad, over the next 10 years. And there was a tenderness and just an exquisite sweetness that had probably always been there, but emerged in the time where he was so happy to have no responsibilities except to be at lunch at the right time. And we spent so much time together, and I remember right after Mommy died, and he was sitting at his table of all the wonderful breakfast, and he would say one funny thing after another. And I turned to him and I said, "Have you become Mama?" And he said, "It's uncanny, isn't it?" So I think that we never realized that he was as clever and witty and funny as he was. And I'm sorry that it took that many years to know it. So I would say I had a wonderful 10 years with my father. And I remember when Mama was in rehab, and Dad, like a little child, didn't want to go to sleep. He wanted to leave the North Shore later and later every day to go visit her. And I remember once he made me go to some group, some activity that was going on there, just so that we wouldn't have to go to the rehab place. And he made me attend this thing, and it was so atrocious that afterwards I said to him, "Jack, why did you make me sit through that?" And he said, "Because if I tried to explain to you how bad it was, you would have never believed me." It was an honor to be there at the end. And I made very sure to hold him and tell him repeatedly how each of us loved him, and I mentioned all of his ideas. The irony, of course, is that he was so deaf, so I'm not sure you heard the word. But I will always choose to believe that he did. That's it. I'm sorry to bring him. I'm what that gives him down. I'm sorry not to be there with all of you.
No, we're sorry you're not here.
You are, though.
Anyone, somebody please put up the moon.
Somebody please what?
Lift up the moon.
I think the speaker's on the bottom.
Yeah, she's
On one end, right?
Yeah.
So it's on.
Good luck tomorrow, Carol.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. I love you all, and I'll talk to you.
Bye-bye. Thanks,
I got
girl.
Okay.
I'd like to say just a couple remarks, because I was lucky enough to know Irv for well over 40 years, and I knew him in a different way because I was not his child, so I got the best of him always, and he and I had a very unique and special relationship, which after my father died, which has been 20 years now, we became, the two of us, very close. And he became, I remember having a talk and saying, "You're now my father." And he gave him, and he was so intelligent. Irv was really smart, and he had such good wisdom, and he always gave me fantastic, clear, logical advice about whatever I came to him for, and I so appreciated that. But I just feel so lucky to have known him, very blessed, very lucky. And
Susan, it just reminds me, and I think it brings it out, that I've often thought of Irv being extremely repressed in childhood because he was wedged into two very strong personalities. Me, you know, in case you haven't noticed, I'm a very strong personality.
Yeah.
Very strong-willed woman. And then he had my brother Milt, who topped me 100% over.
Yeah.
And the parents in those days, they weren't concerned about sibling rivalry or psychological repression or none of it. I mean, the only manifestation, and they never picked up on it, was that his deportment at school was horrible. He fought with every single teacher. And in those days, they didn't immediately call the parents. If there was a sibling in the school, the sibling was called on. I lost count of how many times I was called on because of Irv's discipline problems.
You?
Huh?
The younger kid?
Yeah, well, because they just used me as an instrument to send home a message. They didn't even dignify these situations with a written mail. They trusted me with the letter. And they didn't call for parents to come. It was just go home and tell your parents this is what's going on. And in those days, there was corporal punishment, and he probably got a beating, and hopefully he would be better next time. But he was terrible at school.
What would he do? What if it's an example of something? What would he do?
He would be very disruptive with the with the students. In one case, he had a teacher called Miss Cottrell. She was, everybody knew she was really like a witch. And she wore, she had a wig. And he was instrumental in getting somebody to get that wig off.
Oh my God! I can't believe that.
Not too much
But
more
I mean, as a
humiliating.
consequence, though, the parents, their take on him was, well, you know, 1 out of 4. My sister wasn't a great student either. My brother Milt and I were, you know, we were really, really good students. So it didn't matter that he wasn't a good student, you know, there would be a place for him in the business. You know, that was always the cop-out in those days. They didn't have to go to college. There was a family business that he could go into. So for me, to eyewitness the different stages of his life, especially when you know, they all know I'm like an amateur, I'm an amateur psychoanalyst, and he was a real case study. I mean, to watch all the different phases that he went through. And our first awakening of the fact that he had any intellect at all was that he was accepted in the service. He enlisted because he wanted to go into officers training. And we were kind of laughing up our sleeves, you know, he's never a student, barely got through high school, and he thinks he's going to be in officers training. Because we sort of said, don't worry if you don't make it, because that's college level material. He made it, and he went through it with flying colors. And I think that was our first awakening. Wait a minute, there's something to this guy.
Yeah.
he just was repressed. You know,
yeah,
at that time,
he was.
You know.
Well, you know, he really came out when he moved to Marion.
Right.
I guess we probably should wrap this up shortly, but I just wanted to say one more thing, and that is that
attention, everybody.
Is that I want to thank.
Okay.
There's one reason why Irv survived as long as he did. I mean, the main reason he survived, besides his incredible genes, is Hattie, and Hattie saved his life on several occasions, and she is really the reason why he lived as long as he did. He loved her. They had an amazing time together, and you are so important to us, Hattie. You are our family, and we will never ever forget what you've done for him, and you are a part of our family forever.
To me,
I know he was.
I adored him.
Yeah, I know you did, and we all just so appreciate you and what you've done for our
They
family.
had such a wonderful relationship, really.
They did, and you were a great friend, William.
Yeah,
Thank
but
you.
Hattie and Irv,
Yeah.
he was wonderful.
They had so
That is
much
one of the
fun.
reasons why he lasted so long.
I know,
Because he was so
absolutely. Oh, I know, it must sound.
You're not
right.
grown up, honey, that's why you.
Yeah, let's listen.
What?
I just want to say it's been a pleasure knowing his family, and I think a lot of that reflects on from her, as well as Faye too. Yeah, it was wonderful knowing this wonderful family.
Yeah, for you've known him as long as me.
Not that long,
Almost.
no.
Yeah, almost. Yeah. Yeah, almost. Well over 40 years.
Now I have some cold water.
I met him 46 years ago, 45 years ago.
Yeah, now I have a couple pieces.
So you were married.
Yeah, well, yeah, we were together 10 years before we got married. Yeah. So, shall we play the last song, another song?
Yeah, can we get the volume again?
And then we have to go pack and go to the airport. So, yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Who's playing the piano, by the way?
Is that Hattie?
Professional.
That old black magic you weave so well, those icy fingers up and down my spine. The same old witchcraft when your eyes meet mine. The same old tingle that I feel inside. And when that elevator starts its ride, round and down I go, round and round I go, like a leaf that's caught in time. You could stay away, but what would I do? I hear your name, and I'm afraid with just one burning desire, that only your kiss can put out the fire. You're the lover I have waited for, the mate that fate had me created for, and every time you miss me mine, darling, down and down I go, round and round I go, in the spin, loving that still I've been, under that old black magic all the
Recording of the song he played, beautiful. I wish there was a recording of the song he played. The song he played.
What do you want?
Did you see that?
What's teddy bear?
I lost it.
Mine's in my ear.
You had such a wonderful relationship. So yeah, you did so close.
What? What's going on?
In the end, that's all you got is memories.
That's all right, thanks for them. Now Dave is taking over the role of singer, by the way. Yeah, David.
Not too late.
David is a great singer.
Yeah, Hattie still needs someone to.
Hattie, last time they were together, Hattie played for David.
Oh, can David sing? Why he never sang for Papa, I don't understand.
Well,
There's
we'll
a
sing.
wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, this is
I have a little letter from one of our pals, Ed Solomon, about Irving.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody, hold on.
Hold on, one more thing.
One more thing, the picture.
I think Irving was
You
about
might not be
95.
there.
Okay.
It's only me, Olivia. Olivia. What do you mean?
Mr. Irving, thanks for the songs you sing. Thanks for the joy you bring. Thanks for all your sage advice, even for some naughty spice. To all of you, to all of us, you are a seer, the man we come to for advice. For all of us, you have no peer. May God preserve you, Mr. Nice. Is that beautiful?
Beautiful.
That was really nice.
Time to go. Billy, are you going to say something?
Everybody come and look at this.
Oh, yeah, that's from
I just want to say a couple of words. I've enjoyed, of course, Irv was my special friend. I really learned to, I can't even express how close we were, and we had so many things that it turned out that we experienced in similar ways. And to me, he is Evanston, and I'll always miss him. But I enjoyed the family, especially Jenny and all her beautiful children, and Annette, and David, and Susan, of course, and now Gracie, and I don't know. Tim, and the great grandchildren, which they were the pride of Irving's life. He was so happy when they were around. Ramona and Olivia and all of them, they were wonderful. So if we don't meet again, if our paths don't cross, I want to tell you how much I've enjoyed being with all of you over these past years. Thank you so much.
And you've had joy into our life.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Billy Powell.
Still around.
William Powell.
Thank you very much.
Thanks everyone for coming.
Are you pressed for time?
No, if we're going now. If we're going now.
What? Really?